What's up, everybody? This is Queens, Season 1, Episode 11. I'm a Slave for You, which is named after the Britney Spears record, which was produced by the Neptunes. You guys know Pharrell, Chad. This was off of her 2001 album. I believe that album was self titled. I believe it was called Britney. Um, that was when Britney kind of became unleashed. That was when Britney like kind of went a little bit urban. Britney was in the R&B charts with that record. um, anyway, done with the music history for a second. It opens with a young lady being arrested. There's a mugshot, and we've never seen this girl before. And all of a sudden, you see her being released from jail. There's paparazzi flashes and cameras mobbing and all of that good stuff. And then you see Jill bail her out, and she goes, "I want to sign you to Nasty Girl Records." Then we flash to 3 days earlier. So there's a team meeting, and Valeria's looking at her laptop. She's looking at her finances, and everybody mostly lives in the same house. Valeria is the only one that doesn't live in a house with everybody. Valeria lives in her own house because Valeria had money from co-hosting The Shade and different endorsements like the butter pecan fragrances, and her deal was better than the rest of the ladies in the group. So there's that. So her finances are not looking too shiny right now is what we'll say. She's like, "That's a lot of commas missing. Thank God Thomas didn't marry me for my money because it's a lot of commas missing from this account." And as they're all sitting at the round table, Naomi goes, "Listen, we poured everything that we did and everything that we had, into this label." And Jill says the same. The work that she's doing currently is what's keeping bills paid, and it's what has, her putting money into the label too. So during the team meeting, they're talking about what albums are gonna drop first. They talk about Muffin, they talk about Zadie, and those are the albums that they're thinking about putting out first, and then probably pushing Valeria's release date up. Valeria says it's not ready, it's not done, and then they get into a conversation about this Latin rapper named Resonance, who Valeria would love to have on the album. She says she loves him, loves his style, and she wants to put a more Puerto Rican influence, and she wants to be seen as, not just a girl who's in Queens, or not just a girl, who appeals to mainstream and white media, but she wants people to know that she's a Puerto Rican rapper and that she embraces her heritage. So Naomi secured the collab for her and Resonance. When she gets into the studio with Resonance, she lets him know, "I want to rap in Spanish. I want to do what you do," because that's what he does. He has a different idea. He wants her to bring the Valeria that he knows from, the group. He wants, the girl who raps in English, the girl who sings in English. He don't want, you trying to experiment and do that. He does it all the time. He says, he can take care of the Spanish part, but he wants her to do it in English. They don't agree. She says yes, he says no, and she leaves the studio. Um, Going forward, Naomi gets a call from the dean at JoJo's school, and she finds out that JoJo has not been to school in 2 months. And Naomi tells Eric, and they sit down with JoJo. They try to figure out why she hasn't been to school in 2 months. She's not feeling it. She wants to rap. She wants to do what her mother does. Naomi's 110% against it. Eric's trying to be on JoJo's side, trying to be on Naomi's side, but he doesn't know what to do. He's kind of damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't, because when he tries to interject and be a father, Naomi's like, "You've been doing this for a hot minute. Stay out of this." But then when she wants backup, she wants to, tag him in, and he's like, "Well, you just told me to be quiet. Now it's okay for me to speak." But this is typical Naomi. If you've been watching the show, this is what Naomi does. She likes to be in control. She wants you to move how she wants you to move, say what she wants you to say. This is part of what the issues were in the group. She wants to lay the formula out of how it's supposed to go, and if that's not how you want it, then she don't want it that way. Um, let's see. Getting back to the young lady that we saw open the show, young white girl. Turns out there's a show called Anacadabra, And when you first open the show and she's arrested, you hear the song called Hannah Montana playing, because it's kind of what this is. She plays a girl who is a singer and an actress, and the way that the show opens, it opens with a show within a show. So she's basically playing her character. And for a moment there, I'm not sure if y'all caught this, but for a moment there, I was like, am I watching Queens? Like, I'm like, is something else on? Because I'm blown away right now, and I don't know what the hell this is. Like, I swore I was watching a whole different show. And she plays this girl who has this alter ego, and the girl's name is Anna Cadabra, whatever the case may be. Turns out, she is Jill's co-star. I believe Jill plays the teacher on the show. She's Anna Cadabra's co-star. The girl's name is Madison, who plays the character Anna Cadabra. And turns out Madison has a horrible life. Madison forgets her lines. She's under a lot of pressure. Her mom is the typical ridiculous, pathetic stage mom. In this story, it looks like it's based off of everything that we just witnessed Britney Spears go through for the last 13 years in her conservatorship. So apparently it's based off of that. So her mom has her doped up on all type of drugs and pills like Adderall and other stuff. She has a tracker in her phone. She tracks her trailer. She tracks where she goes, who she speaks to, what she says. She takes naps, purposely so she can stay up while she sleeps and all this other stuff. And it's a pretty crazy life that this girl lives. So, Jill eventually in the episode sits down with her and is like, yo, why do you live like this? Aren't you grown? And she's like, yeah, I'm 21. And she was like, at the end of the day, it took me until I was 40 to finally break free of my parents and, or her father and what she was going through. And then Madison goes, well, it's not that easy for me. Have you ever heard of a conservatorship? And for those that don't know, and if for those who weren't listening, who didn't learn what Britney Spears was going through all these years, that's what she was in. It's like having custody of a grown person. Let's see. So further in the episode, JoJo turns to Eric and asks for his support. You know what I mean? She's not just daddy's little girl, but she's daddy's only girl. That's his only kid, and he's just now getting into this fatherhood thing or whatever the case may be, as Naomi mentioned before. And she just says she wants a chance. So they go to the studio. She lays down her first record, and he loves it. She loves it. Eric is like, listen, I can't let you release this or do anything with this until we talk to your mother about it, because she's probably not even going to be happy because I told her I was going to be on her team. Well, while Eric's not looking, JoJo uploads the song to SoundCloud anyway and does what she wants to do. With Valeria leaving the session with Resonance, she says that, and she's doing yoga while Naomi's talking to her, and she lets it be known, listen, at the end of the day, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to be on a record no more that I don't believe in. I don't want to be on records to where I'm not in Spanish. I don't want to be in records doing things on a solo album, especially because this is Valeria's first big look. And when you go solo from a group, you have to make sure that your album reflects who you are. And this is what she wants. And she wants it to, to reflect her roots and her heritage, or, the little bit of identity that she has. She wants it to be in this album, in this single. And Naomi's letting her know, listen, this probably isn't the best time to be, going rogue and going scorched earth and leaving when we need these type of looks. This is a crucial and critical time for the label. You can't be doing nothing risky. We trying to launch with a hit. And, Valeria has her views and Naomi has her. So she kind of obliges, goes back to the studio with Resonance, does the record again. And after several takes of trying to get it right, you realize that Valeria's not doing this the wrong way by accident. She's doing this the wrong way on purpose. Because Valeria, as we know, does things the way that Valeria wants to do it. I think that's maybe why her and Naomi don't see eye to eye all the time, why they had so much friction back in the day, because they're kind of the same. I'm going to do it my way, well, I'm going to do it my way. And eventually, you don't see a song come together for her and Resonance. She leaves the studio again, and because he dropped it from the song. Jill sits down with the rest of Nasty Girl Records. She sits down with the team and says, listen, I want to sign Madison to the label. So Madison shows up to the studio and she's like, listen, I probably shouldn't even be here. My mom's probably checking me. She'll probably be here any minute. So y'all just gonna stand there and whisper, or you gonna let me show you what I got? So she sings, and her style is very much um Ashley Simpson. Maybe even a little Miley Cyrus ish, that kind of style. Like rock pop, the later type of Pink stuff. Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone type stuff. Um, those things. Let's see, and so the girls are skeptical at first. She sings, they all are blown away. Even Naomi gets involved with the guitar, all of that good stuff. After she sings, the girls are impressed. They want to sign her, and she's like, "Yo, at the end of the day, my mom will never go for this, and it was great being here. It was great hearing my voice heard and getting my song out." Because in the middle of this, the girl's mom shows up with the police because technically her mother's in charge of her. Shows up and gets into it with Jill. She's like, at the end of the day, I raised her. We're worth 80 million because of it. I could have you arrested because you kidnapped my ward. Um, Jill let to be known, you ain't worth 80 million. She's worth 80 million. And Madison asks to say goodbye. So while she's asking to say goodbye, mom starts out with the cops, and they're all discussing, what she could do to get free of this conservatorship. And when she agrees to sign with the girls or whatever, she's like, well, maybe y'all could take it out of my advance. Maybe I can get a new lawyer because the lawyer that I have right now, my mom hired, he's loyal to her because she's keeping the checks coming in. And with an independent label like this, and especially it's a self-ran, self-started, the girls look around like, kind of like, what advance? And basically it was like, she was like, y'all are broke, aren't you? She was like, yeah, we broke, we real broke. All of them agreed. They're an up and coming label. They don't have no budget. They don't have no backing yet. They fund everything. So, Jill agrees to pay for the lawyer's fees out of her own money, out of her own checks. She doesn't want the label to pay for it. She was like, I'll do it. And Madison goes, well, what if at the end of the day it doesn't work? What if I lose? What if we go to court and it doesn't happen? And then Jill goes, that's a risk I'm willing to take. After Valeria got dropped from the Song of Resonance, her and Naomi talk about why she got dropped, why she can't afford to make those decisions, why she can't afford to make those mistakes, and why she shouldn't be doing this. Naomi is in full throttle control this episode. And Valeria kind of called her out on it, as she, usually does, as the rest of them have too. Like, yo, why do you get to make most of the decisions when I'm the one that put in most of the money for Nasty Girl Records? And Naomi goes, that don't even matter at this point. It's about the music. And Valeria goes, do you realize how hypocritical you sound? And she wasn't wrong. You can't sit there and have somebody else put in all the money, most of the money, and you want to call all the shots. And part of me knew that Valeria was putting in most of the money because she's the one that still has her own house. And then Jill probably is the one who's putting in the second largest amount of money because she's the one that's regularly working, regularly booked, has the opportunities, and is out there in the media. She's in the press. She's the most popular member of the group right now. So Valeria wasn't wrong by asking her that, and Naomi kind of needs to think about how they're all an equal partnership. All of them have a say so. And it was mentioned early in the episode too about, different people who they tried to reach out to. Is Rhapsody happy with her management? Did you reach out to this one? This one ain't working with us unless the Queens are all together, but Bree's happy in Costa Rica. She's not coming back. And Brandy mentioned, she was like, well, Never Say Never or whatever, which ironically is Brandy's biggest and probably most iconic album. And I don't think they're finished filming the season yet. So I think they're waiting until Eve gives birth in a few weeks to see if she's going to come back and, film the rest of the season and maybe return from Costa Rica. Bree's my favorite character on the show. P-Sex is my favorite person on the show, my favorite character. And I'm just a huge Eve fan. So there's that. Naomi ends up hearing JoJo's track on SoundCloud because she's back to looking for needles in a haystack, as she puts it, to sign talent on the label. And she secretly uploaded it. And in the middle of them having discussions earlier, JoJo kind of called Naomi out again on being a hypocrite. Like, yo, how can you tell me to be responsible and handle, things the right way when you weren't even there for me? You chose your career over your own child. And Naomi, she can admit that she's wrong, but it's gonna take like a whole year for her to do it. She's not good at that. She don't immediately come out with it. She's gonna be angry first. She's gonna be mean about it first. And yeah, that was that scene. And she was like, basically, at the end of the day, if you're gonna be in my under my roof, then it's my rules. So JoJo basically let to be known, okay, well, I ain't gonna be under your roof. There goes that. I'ma leave. And she leaves, and there's that. So at the hearing with Jill and Madison and the lawyer that Jill has paid for, and Madison's mother, um, her mom is really manipulative and conniving, and they go back and forth as to why the conservatorship should and shouldn't be terminated. And when the judge is kind of siding with Madison and kind of ruling in her favor, the mom pulls out the big guns. And I hate to say that because this is what the story kind of is about. No pun intended, but she pulls out the big gun, and Madison was like, please don't do this. Don't say what you're about to say. And she lets it be known that Madison found a gun that she had and had the gun in her mouth. She walked past the girl's room and she was, going to kill herself. Well, as she tells this story, basically to sway the judge in her favor, Madison breaks down. So during the recess, Madison tells Jill the truth about the suicide attempt and says she just wanted out of the conservatorship. She found that it was going to be extended, and she just thought that that was the only way to have freedom and control over her own life, which was to end her life. And Jill lets her know, your mother needs to hear these words. And I think Jill kind of arranges for the two of them to talk. Naomi sits down with JoJo at the studio, still doesn't want her to rap, still wants her to go to college. And at the end of the day, she sees the fact that the fans and the trolls and the comments are more focused on her daughter's body and her image. And she's like, yo, why are grown men comment on how my daughter looks and this, that, and the third? So she's being the protective mama bear that you would expect anybody to see, or that you would think it would be. So in this episode, we're kind of seeing the two different degrees of how a mom can be. You see how protective a mom can be, and, is trying to keep her daughter in what she thinks is safe, from chasing a dream that she feels will sabotage her and ultimately lead to disaster, and wants her to finish school. Then you have another mom who is pushing her daughter into things that she doesn't want to do that way. Then, she wants to do it her way. So I like how Queens did it. You got one mom over here who's in the game but doesn't want her kid anywhere near it. Then you got one mom forcing her kid into the game to feed her. You know what I mean? And to take care of her and fulfill her needs, regardless if her daughter's happy or not. So Jill's mother, well, going back to it, Naomi and JoJo says she knows about the trolls. She knows they're going to be focused on her image, and she doesn't care. That's just what it is. But she's ready to rap, and she knows that she's good, and she knows she's talented. Back at the courthouse, Jill talks to Madison's mom, and she lets her know, basically, look, if you don't stop this kind of stuff, you're not going to have your daughter. You're going to lose her. And, the mom is like, of course, well, what do you know? You don't have kids. And she's like, no, but I know what it's like to be at the point to where you feel like you're going to lose your life and take your life if people don't start respecting you and realizing that you are a person too, and you're human, and you need to be heard and you need to be seen. And those two talk. Madison and her mother end up talking. So Madison, after that, shows up to see the girls of Nasty Girl Records, and says that her mom is letting her go finally. She also, after that, shows up, after leaving Nasty Girl Records, shows up to the house where everybody lives at, lets them know that she doesn't want to disappoint anybody, but word got out that she was finally free, and that there was a bidding war, and Universal Records, who also produces her show, offered her $5 million up front and says she can't turn that money down, and also that if she gives them one more Anna Cadabra album, that she can do what she wants on her next album her way. And we've seen this before. We've seen this with several, artists. Christina Aguilera had to do her first album the label's way if she wanted to do her second album stripped her way, which is probably Christina's biggest and most iconic album, and so on and so forth. We've seen it with so many, Britney Spears included. Um, and Jill's disappointed, and Naomi walks her out, and she says, at the end of the day, I couldn't save her. I see where she's headed, and I think that's what disappoints me the most. And Eric lets him know, listen, you can't save them all. And with this disappointment and blow to Nasty Girl Records, Valeria goes, well, I was the reason that we broke up before, but I won't be the reason now. So she swallows her pride, goes sits down with Resonance, and lets him know why she acted the way she did, why she left the studio, why she gave him such a hard time, and what this is really about for her, and why it's so important to do things the way that she wants to do it. So they end up working together. They don't collab on a song. They don't collab to where she's featured or he's featured or a duet. He ends up producing her first Spanish language single. She wants it to be the first single from her album. The label agrees. And her album is finally going to be complete and it's going to come out. So I think she'll be, pushed up exactly the way Naomi planned. JoJo and Naomi talk, and Naomi basically offers JoJo a deal. Listen, you can do this. I'll support you, but I would rather you do both. I want you to have both options. Don't you love school? I know you love school. I saw that you love school. So they come to an agreement. Basically, the conclusion is JoJo's going to go to school and be on Nasty Girl Records, and no, you ain't getting no advance because we broke. And that was the end of the episode. So it definitely wasn't as hard hitting as last week's episode, but I do love the fact that Queens is getting into some real deep stuff and some stuff that really is in the industry. They're not just keeping it, about the glitz and the glam. They're really getting into the gutter stuff and stuff that a lot of these ladies on the show have probably gone through because they all have platinum selling success with the exception of Nadine Velasquez. Or is it Velasquez? Either or. So it was nice to see that they touched on and spent time breaking down a conservatorship, even if it was fictional. And this is, to me, look at this crumb of what you saw what a conservatorship is, and think about what Britney Spears had to go through for years. Think of the think about the manipulations and the lies and the things that she was held in, and having to be working and building a fortune in the empire for other people to spend your money and everything else. So just think about that. Think about how more real and how heavier it was for Britney Spears. And think about how sick it really was, because seeing this on the show was sick. So think about how much sicker it really was, and it was real for Britney. And we got to see how it is for young female artists to fight to have their identity and fight to have their voices heard, and to be manipulated by money and labels, especially when you the cash cow at a label and you keeping the lights on. You know what I mean? They're gonna throw whatever at you to keep things going their way, and if you don't like it, you can go. And that's pretty much how it is. Anyway, what you think of the episode? What do you think is coming next? We not coming back for 3 weeks. It said February 8th. Sheesh. What are you looking forward to seeing most from the rest of the season? Are you looking forward to Bree's return? Do you think she'll come back? And what do you expect from the rest of the season? What do you think of the episode, of course? Anyways, thank you all for tuning into this very, very all over the place review. And thank you to the tiny, tiny little YouTube community that tunes in to these reviews and, chit chats with me in comments and all of that good stuff. I appreciate you. And that was Queens, episode 11, season 1. I'm a slave for you. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And leave whatever down below. And I'll see y'all next time. Later.